Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm doing it again. Call it a revamp, call it a rebrand, call it an epiphany, whatever you want to put to it. It's happening. The underlying theme of what's going on right now is finding your own voice in whatever you're doing, but in this case specifically, artwork. Okay, so if you haven't gathered by my language so far, this has happened before. If you want to see that happening, I'll leave the video right here. I've done an entire rebrand before, and I'm doing it again. Why? Because I had another epiphany, and I think each one has helped me narrow down into what I really, really want to do. And let me just start off with saying, finding your own voice in the art world, but I think in whatever you're doing, is hard. There are some people that are just born with this innate ability to be like, this is my voice, this is what I want to do. But that's not the case for everyone in every aspect of life, you know? So for me, I'm going to say this in two ways, because I think retrospectively and innately, I knew what I wanted to do, but because of certain things, which I will explain, I convinced myself that that wasn't an option. So I went out, I experimented, I did a whole bunch of different things, trying to find my voice, but I was forcing it every single step of the way. And that's fine. That's also part of the journey. Not having a voice and needing to just do everything under the sun is also a 100% valid avenue. Okay, take it from someone whose journey into the art world and still to this day is not linear. I didn't start off knowing what I want to do and then just continue with that up until this point. Innately, I knew what I wanted to do, but for reasons that I'll explain, I just convinced myself otherwise. Is it sad? Yeah, but I'm not really beating myself up for it, and I'm not regretting any bit of it, because along the way, I have learned so much about art and styles and techniques, and I'm not done learning, but it's allowed me to branch out, so now I think I can start narrowing down on what I actually want to do. There is a subject matter that undoubtedly I love doing. It's so easy for me to do, and it's the highest quality of anything else that I create. So one would argue, why aren't you doing this all the time? And that's a really good question. The answer starts with when I was about 7 years old. I started with black and white sketching. I don't want to throw my family under the bus, but if I'm being completely honest, I had family members tell me, you're never gonna make a living out of art if you're just sketching. And I had no reason to not trust my family, right? I know some of you might see me now, and there's a part of me that's like, screw authority, I do what I want. But there's also a part of me that really hears the critiques and the advice that people give me. And especially when it's family, it's really hard to look at that and analyze if that's true, if they have your best interest in mind. And I'm sure they did. Like, it was coming from a place in their own perspective and life wisdom. That was the best advice they could give me. So I taught myself how to paint. I think the first time I started painting was when I was like 11 years old. I taught myself how to use color because someone told me I couldn't sell black and white. And I didn't even know. I didn't know that I wanted to be an artist full time, but at the same time, I was raised with the mentality that like, you better get good enough that you can make money doing it. So that's how I've treated everything in my life. But I didn't know that I wanted it as a career path. I actually wanted to be an animal veterinarian. So that was the first roadblock. The second roadblock happened kind of around that same time. And there's a certain subject matter that I painted all the time because I was obsessed. Some would say I'm probably still obsessed, but whatever. And I was told again by family members that you will never make it into a museum. You'll never have a full-time career if you just paint those. And I was like, that's so sad. Okay, fine. So I like taught myself how to paint other things too. So that was my first introduction with the art world, was that even if they had my best interest in mind, I was told that I couldn't do what I wanted. So fine, I had other careers and it was fine. And I'm happy for everything that I've experienced and done. Like, there's no resentment. I'm being honest in order to share my story and hopefully have it resonate with someone. Fast forward to the last 2 years when I have been doing art full time. So when I started, I mean, I think to some extent I'm still struggling to find my voice, but I'm so much closer than I was 2 years ago. But I didn't know what I wanted, was the point. So I painted everything, all subject matters, all different styles. I had absolutely no direction whatsoever because I was just like, I want to do it all. And I'm kind of the type of person, I don't like closing doors on myself, and I don't like putting myself into a box. So already, just mentally, I struggle with conforming. In doing that, I don't know, you do kind of get lost in it. And meanwhile, the same subject matter was still the easiest, the highest quality, and the fastest work that I completed. Why this wasn't just like a blaring idea of like, oh, you should maybe pursue that, is I have no excuse for it other than I was just fighting my own mind the entire time. Which led me to my first rebrand, which definitely helped me narrow things down, but I still could feel, I knew it in my heart. I was like, I am afraid to close doors because I don't know what makes money and I don't know what people want to see, and I'm afraid to just do what I want. So I kept it relatively open-ended still. I still didn't really have a voice. It was closer, but so that leads me to this year, which even still, when I went and saw family, I was told again that if I keep painting this certain subject matter, I'm never gonna make it into a museum. And I was like, wow, one, screw you, because you don't know. You don't know. So don't freaking give that advice to someone. At this point, I don't even know if it honestly was meant with the best intentions. I hope that it is, but at the same time, it's like, why not just tell someone to find a way to make it work? Don't tell them they can't. Say like, it's unconventional, but if you're creative enough, you can find a way. Like, that's way more encouraging and like, I don't know, it honestly made me a little mad to hear. But again, it's one of those things where like, it makes me mad, but at the same time, I also feel it and I hear it and I'm like, are they right? Am I just gonna be wasting my time painting something that, I don't know. I feel like for a long time, I have been without a voice and I've been denying what I wanna do. So the other day, I sat down with my husband and we had a really good talk. He also saw how quickly I did them, how masterfully I did them in comparison to other work that I was putting out at the same time, and how much I enjoyed it. And he was like, Ashley, what are you doing? Like, everything about you screams that you should be doing that. Just talking to him, like, he is my favorite human on the planet, and I literally would not be here without him. So he has been the voice of reason and the one person who has told me that I'm capable of doing it. And that doesn't mean it's gonna be easy, but I can still do it. To have someone believe in you is really freaking cool. So we had this long talk. He challenged me to a month. And then in my mind, I was like, well, I'll just do it for the rest of the year, which transformed into like this entire thought process of what I just described about my past. And I was like, okay, I've been waiting long enough. Let's just do an entire rebrand and just dive in, because I know, like, I've known since I was 7 years old, this is what I want to paint. Where I am diving in head first. I redid my website. I've redone my Facebook, my Google business. everything that I can. I have changed to my style, and it's amazing because just even in doing that, when I was kind of designing my website, I was like, oh my gosh, this looks like me. Like, my website now looks more like how I envision it and the vibe that I want to put out. And that's, I mean, that in and of itself just kind of says everything. If I was to leave you with any bit of advice, it would be that it's okay to not know what your style is. There are people that do, but if you don't, that's okay. Take the time you need to learn and improve your artwork. Find the things that you might be passionate about, find the things that you're maybe not that good at painting, and try painting a bunch of it. Like, just use that time to improve your skill and master copy a bunch of different styles so that you can just kind of get a feel for a lot of things. And I think over time, it's inevitable that you will, if you're self-reflecting enough and honoring what feels right to you, okay? So it does take a bit of awareness, but if there's anything that I wish for someone else, it's that they don't go through like the mental turmoil that I went through of just fighting themselves, when I could have just spent that time acknowledging that I didn't have a voice yet and just study. Like, instead of trying to be something, just take the pressure off and enjoy not having a voice yet. I definitely struggled without having a voice because social media puts such a strong emphasis on like, you need to have a style and a subject matter and things like that. But it's good pressure. I'm really thankful for social media in that sense. It was a tumultuous relationship for the last 2 years, but I wouldn't trade it for the world because now I feel like I'm really able to identify what I want to do. So, back to my advice. I keep going on tangents, I'm sorry. It's okay to not have a voice or a style yet. Just take your time and enjoy that process. That's what the last 2 years of my art journey has consisted of, and that honestly is just part of finding your own voice. It will come. Maybe not in 2 years, maybe it'll happen in a month, maybe it'll happen in 10 years, but just don't give up. Just take your time and enjoy the process, enjoy the experimentation, enjoy the learning, okay? The next thing is listen to what the world is telling you and what draws you in. If there is something that you love and feels easy to paint, and like, for me, this subject matter, I know it so well that no matter what position it is in space, no matter what it's doing, like, I already know, this is gonna be a little hint, the musculature and the way that the light hits certain colors, like, I just know it so innately that no matter what scenario it's in, like, I know how to paint it. I know what the feeling of every joint and muscle and everything feels like on this thing. Because I know it so well, there's very little struggle when it comes to shading and colors and values, because I just have such a deep understanding of the anatomy of this three-dimensional object. I'm being so coy right now, but maybe not. I'm sure you already know what it is. Listen to what the world is telling you and what fascinates you and takes up brain space. Try following that, and I think that's a really good indication that that's where your voice lies. So, are you ready to hear what my rebrand is? Okay, I am going full into equestrian artwork. That should have been your first clue. Full into just equestrian artwork. That means show jumping, hunter jumpers, horses, the English world portraiture, anything but it's under the equestrian genre. It's me If you follow this channel, you know that I've been riding since I was 2. I was a professional show jumper up until I was 25, 26 years old. I also went to school to be an equine veterinarian. That's what I wanted to do. So I just know horses literally inside and out. I love the lifestyle. It just is me. It's a very kind of classy and chic and kind of like an old money. There's an old money vibe to it, and I love it because it's just so classy and beautiful. Because I've lived that lifestyle and still do. I still ride and I still jump the horse that I have. I see the beauty everywhere in it. So whether it's a horse putting its head down and you see the braids, like the horse show braids in their mane, or, you know, a little thing like a close-up on the eye with the ribbon, like I've lived that. So I can identify in a moment what like feels beautiful, looks beautiful. I love the details and shadows of a show horse, you know? I don't know how else to describe it. I'll leave a video right here. I did an equine portrait a day for a week, and it was so much in my style. It's very realistic, but the angles of the horse that you see are a little abstract. And it's beautiful because you get to see like all the lovely details of what a show pony is. I'm just able to communicate the level of dedication and time that those people put into that lifestyle, because it is a lifestyle, and I can tell you it takes up your entire life. Like at horse shows, you're waking up 4 a.m., you're riding horses, braiding horses, cleaning horses, lunging horses before clients get there, and then you're taking care of clients at the horse show and getting them set up, and then you're still feeding horses, graining horses, making sure everyone's happy, healthy, sound, and there's so much to it, but that's the language that I speak because I've lived it. And the moments of triumph, the quiet moments when you're with the horses, all those things I just feel like are so easy for me to put into a painting because I love them and it's so personal. So, if you couldn't already tell by that entire spiel, I'm really excited for this rebrand, and it feels light. So the last piece of advice I have for you in making decisions, when you think about a decision, it's gonna make you feel 2 or 3 ways. You're gonna feel light, you're gonna feel neutral, or you're gonna feel heavy. For the last 2 years, there were things that I felt maybe neutral about, but also heavy, or what started out as being light ended up feeling really heavy. And what I mean by heavy is it just weighs you down. Like you literally can feel it on your body that what you're doing or that decision just makes you feel like, ugh. I don't have a word for it, but it's just like a ugh feeling. Versus if you come across a decision and when you're thinking about it, you're like, oh, like you feel like you can take a deep breath of air, and it almost happens already, you know, without even thinking. Your body kind of just naturally wants to be like, okay, yeah. If that's how you feel, follow that, chase that, 100% go with that, okay? That is what the world is telling you that you need to follow. Anyways, I'm rambling a little bit, but I'll leave you with that. I hope you found this helpful, and please take what you can from it, learn what you can from it. If you're in the middle of finding your own voice, don't panic, just take your time, enjoy the process. It will come, but it does take a lot of listening and reflecting on yourself. It's hard when you might feel like no one believes in you, and if you need someone to believe in you, let it be me. I believe in you, okay? I will be that person for you if you need someone to have your back and do it. But that's enough of my rambling today. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you found it helpful. If you did enjoy this, and if you want more content like this, I do tend to talk a lot about the business side of art. On top of, I try to share many, many painting videos, but I also do talk a lot about business because that's one of my strong suits. So like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thank you so much for joining, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.